In this lesson, we're going to be exploring the counter attack and displacement and explaining a little bit about what these actions are, how to employ them, and of course, demonstrations of them in action. Ali, Zagad, and Jason are going to help with the demonstrations as we learn more about counterattacks. So Jason here is going to help show us one of these counterattack actions, which is the stop hit. Now, stop hit has many forms, so we're not going to be able to show you all of them, but we will show you one. The most common stop hit is where if your opponent is advancing, so Jason, we need to take one step forward. If I'm going to try and make a lunge, he's going to throw out his arm, he's going to hit me and run away. So if I lunge, he's going to throw out his arm, and he's going to retreat. So he's going to step away. There are different forms of a stop hit, but this is the most common one. So if he attempts to attack me, lunge. This is a good example. He makes a lunge, I throw my arm, when I hit, that's when I run away. It's ineffective if you try to run away at the same time that you hit. So if I lunge at Jason and Jason extends his arm in his retreat, I hit him. If he doesn't hit me, you have to make sure your timing is there. So again, come forward. If I make that lunge, he wants to extend in that action so that he hits before he runs away. So again, he did the same thing. He starts the retreat before his arm goes out. So if he does the same thing against me, he's going to lunge. I make the hit first, and then I retreat. This is difficult, but do remember, you have one thing on your side when doing the counterattack. Your opponent's target is coming forward. So if Jason lunges at me, make a lunge, his arm is going to be bringing his torso with him. So I don't have to extend nearly as far. I don't have to lunge forward to make that hit. He's bringing it forward for me. So all I have to do is extend my arm, and I can run away. But if you don't have the timing, it's not going to be effective. So this is a good example of a stop hit. Again, making sure you have timing. You want to have that distance, so you want to be able to make that hit. If you're too far away all the way over here, it's not going to be very helpful. So make sure you have timing and distance to employ the stop hit effectively. Our next example for the counterattack is going to be displacement. Ali Zagad is going to help us with a few demonstrations on this one. Displacement is a little bit different from your stop hit in that it's not just hitting and running away. You are doing a lot more. You're being a lot more proactive in moving your target area around. So instead of defending yourself with parries, you're typically just twisting and ducking to make sure your target area is away. A few common actions that you will see is a duck or a crouch. Some people like to twist, others like to jump, but the common theme in all of them is that their target area, their torso, is being displaced. It doesn't inhabit the same space in which your opponent is attacking. So that's the important theme here. So Ali Zagad is going to show us two examples. The first one's just going to be a typical twist. So when your opponent is attacking, I'm just going to do a march. She's going to hit and twist around me. So for that, it's going to be really just a twist around. You're going to rotate with your hips. So as I step in, it's going to be a hit and a twist around, just like that. You'll see some people even aggressively twist their hips. So if I were to do it against her, she steps in. As soon as you extend your arm, you make your hip, you twist. You're pulling yourself with your hip. You can even use your back shoulder to twist around. Now for our second example, Ali Zagad is going to employ what we call a closeout. And this is where you are employing your blade. So remember, in counterattacks, you don't have right of way. So you want that little extra security to make sure your light is the only light turning on. Just because you hit me doesn't mean, as the attacker, I'm not able to find some spot of you that I can hit and negate your touch. So what we're going to look at here is a displacement with closeout of the blade. So I'll get you right over here on this mechanism. I'm going to do a march. And what I want to do is watch what she does with her blade after she hits me. So I'm going to march in, she hits, and she closes out. She pulls her arm in. As she twists, she uses her blade as a shield. So we'll do that one more time from this angle. So if I advance in, there's the hit, and there's the close out. The arm comes in, across the chest with the blade pointing up. You're closing out with the fort, not the foil. Again, with the stomp hit, the theme is the same. You have to have distance and timing. So you have to remember, your opponent's closing in, their target's moving with them. All you have to do is extend your arm. After you've extended, it's very important that you have the timing to retreat or displace. So if I make the hit and I just stay there, sure, my distance was good, but my timing is horrible because she's able to complete her attack. So you have to make sure that when you finish your counterattack, you're not inhabiting the same space. So if she makes the attack against me, make sure your target isn't in the same spot. Especially if your counterattack is ineffective. You still want to make sure you don't get hit. One last thing regarding counterattacks and displacement, you need to be a good reader of the situation. If you're not observing what your opponent is doing, if you're not identifying patterns, counterattacks are very risky. So if you're just panicking, chances are you're not going to get that light on. It's just going to be luck. But if you can read patterns from your opponent, if you know that they like to take 3 steps forward before they make their lunge, this gives you a very good read on when it's safe to make your counterattack. So on their second step, you can just throw out your arm, hit, and displace, or when you know their attack is coming on that 3rd step, you can extend in that right distance and your timing is prepared to pull your target away. So read the situation. If your opponent likes to do a lot of searching, they're aggressively looking for your blade, which is a very common theme if you're dealing with someone who likes to counterattack a lot. If I'm always counterattacking and I'm effective with it, your opponent is going to search for the blade. They're going to look for it before they attack. So if your opponent likes to do a lot of searching, look into that. Look for patterns. Read the situation. Does he like to do a search? Does he like to do a couple searches before making their attack? If that's true, you can make sure that you can counterattack into that action at the right time. So again, reading, very important. Do not panic when using a counterattack. Make sure it is a deliberate tool. Don't roll the dice with it.